Hey, welcome to Board with Live News for April 23rd. Today we're going to talk about Northwind, Marvel Dice Masters, Lost Legacy, and the Indiegogo campaign for Tabletop. Let's get right to it. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board with Live News. We released a new bit yesterday for Jaipur. You should definitely go check that out if you haven't already. It's pretty good. We've been very hard at work writing season 2. We're doing writers meetings 2 times a week and then doing gameplay research ones 1 time a week. So we are really excited about how that's all coming together. We've started writing scripts for the second season and we are very excited about that. So we'll definitely keep you updated as we go on that. But let's get into the news. It was a really slow news week this week. Not many stories came out at all, but I dug a couple up for you because that's what I do, because I'm like a little badger that digs. I think badgers dig, right? Yeah, badgers dig. Anyways, Z-Man Games announced that they are going to bring Northwind to the US. This is a game that came out last year in Germany by Klaus Tuber, legendary Klaus Tuber, who designed Settlers of Catan, of course. It's for 2 to 4 players. And the main reason this game looks interesting is these awesome 3D ships. That are kind of, like little paper craft style where you're going to build these little ships and then you have your guys on the ships and they have to man cannons, and I think it's got some pick up and deliver mechanics. But it looks cute, it looks fun, hopefully it's good. We've got some news from Marvel Dice Masters, Avengers vs. X-Men, which I think comes out today is the official release date. Apparently the pre-orders were so huge for this, they've sold out before they even released the game. So they have announced that they're already doing a reprint, so in May or June there should be more games coming. So please don't go on eBay and pay ridiculous prices for this game. You can just wait a little bit and you'll get it and it'll be fine. Other Marvel Dice Masters news is they have announced their first kind of big expansion to the game. I guess it's also a standalone, but big pack, because I guess the way this game works is it's like Quarriors where you have dice, but it's also got some collectible aspects where you're gonna buy individual cards and stuff, but this is like one of the larger packs that will come with a whole bunch of new dice with new characters, and it is gonna be Uncanny X-Men, and it's gonna add in, or I guess add alternate dice for some of these and add these as new characters: Wolverine, Magneto, Cyclops, Iceman, Psylocke, the Sentinels, and more. So if you're a fan of X-Men, if you're a fan of Marvel, if you're a fan of Quarriors, or if you've got kids, because this seems like the perfect game for kids, you should jump on that. Yeah, moving on. AEG has some information coming out about the upcoming game Lost Legacy, which is designed by Seiichi Kanai, who did Love Letter and co-designed with Hayato Kisaragi. This is very similar to Love Letter. It's sort of like a spiritual companion to it, I guess, because the base game is 16 cards, and each one has a special ability, and you have one and you draw one, and you've got to use it to deduce where the Lost Legacy is, and whoever does that wins. If nobody does that, nobody wins. It's for 2 to 4 players. The original Japanese set, the base game was 2 sets of 16 cards. You could play them individually, or you could combine them to make a larger game or switch out some cards or whatever. But AEG is actually releasing 3 different sets of 16 cards. So instead of the one game that has 2 sets of 16 cards in it, it's 3 different 16 card sets. They're called the Starship and Flying Garden. That makes up the ones that already came out in Japan. And then the new one is White Gold Spire. They redid the art, which they've been doing on a lot of these Japanese import games, and I kind of wish they wouldn't, because I really like the original Japanese art is like unique and interesting, and the AEG art's good, but it's really generic and whatever. But that being said, with the expansion one, well, not expansion, with the 3rd standalone one, they're all standalones, you're going to be able to play up to 6 players. So if you're a big fan of Love Letter but would like it to fit more players, this is a good option for you. Or if you're just a huge fan of Love Letter but want more variety, because now there's going to be, let's see, 32, 48 different cards that you can combine together to get different scenarios happening in the game. So it sounds pretty interesting, and yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. As for our Kickstarter, it's not actually a Kickstarter, it's an Indiegogo campaign this week, and it's for Tabletop, the massively popular tabletop gaming show hosted by Will Wheaton that takes place on the Geek and Sundry Network. They are kickstarting, or Indiegogoing, I guess, they are crowdfunding a 3rd season. And they've already met their goal of $500,000 because they're big time ballers. And that gets 15 episodes. They're pushing for their second goal, which is $750,000, which will get us up to 20 episodes for that show. They do great work. They're probably the most visible thing in the hobby tabletop gaming hobby, and they introduce a ton of people to games. So we're big fans of what they do because we think everybody should play games. And yeah, that's the news for this week. Make sure that you like, subscribe, tweet. I almost said a curse word in conjugating the word tweet, which is a lot like every joke you would make 3 years ago. So sorry for that. But yeah, we follow us on all the social media and stuff like that. We're very active. We've got bits every 2 weeks. We've got news every week. We've got tons of stuff. We're working on some Let's Plays. So make sure you subscribe. We always have good stuff coming out. And for the question this week. This week's question comes from @Boomtron via Twitter. And they ask, mechanisms come in waves. We had auctions, tiles, worker placement, now social hidden roles. What's next? I think legacy games are next. Legacy games were first kind of introduced by Rob Daviau in Risk Legacy, and that basically means that the game evolves as you play it. You can change some of the physical aspects of it. They work in campaigns instead of single games. They've announced Plaid Hat is coming out with Seafall, which is a legacy game by Rob Daviau. Pathfinder the Adventure card game is pretty legacy-esque because you're playing these campaigns and you get new cards and stuff. I guess, I don't know if it technically is. It's still so new, it's hard to define because you don't actually physically, you know, you're not ripping up cards or, you know, changing powers and things like that. So I guess that's actually more of campaigns. So there aren't a lot of legacy games, but I bet that's a really interesting idea for a lot of designers to explore. They're pretty cool. I really like how they kind of play on your own group's dynamics and the own history of the game that you build as players at a table. So I bet, given a year or two, we're going to start seeing a lot more legacy games. It's not really a mechanic. I guess it is, but it's something that you can kind of put on top of pretty much any pre-existing game. So I bet it's going to be combined a lot, you know, worker placements, deck builders, stuff like that. I bet we're going to see the legacy idea and mechanic kind of start infiltrating. And I'm pretty excited about that because I think it's a cool idea. All right, that's the news for this week. Have fun.